big missing player will be
in Fry, Eric, third competitive appearance this year. The Jamaican international at center back. Jose Luis Rodriguez, our Panamanian referee, getting us underway. It's Toronto in the whites, Aguila in orange. And again for Toronto FC, they can't get what they need tonight, but they're going to have to win to set up that final day showdown at Santos Laguna. For Aguila, just pride. They've lost all 3 games and by wide margins so far. And any goals against tonight would make them the worst goals against per game average team in the somewhat brief history of the CONCACAF Champions League. Here's who's available in reserve tonight for both teams. And again, it's a very short bench for Toronto FC this evening.
well for both sides. Aguila loses 4 or 5 players to international duty. It leaves them stretched in the squad, and Toronto bringing the bare minimum. Eric Aguila is the player who can come on and be creative from midfield.
There's Santos, the 20-year-old forward, one of their leading scorers from last year in possession. And a constant theme anyway of sometimes just a lack of information. These teams have played before, but Aguila entirely different looking because of those absences. So Toronto really starting from scratch to figure out what their opponent's doing this evening.
I think when you take out the best players from an already poor team to go to international duty, you would expect on paper for Toronto to come in here and dominate this game in terms of possession, in terms of goal-scoring chances, and that's what Paul Mariner will want from his team. They must go forward early. They don't have to sit back just because they're away from home.
So the captain Zelaya there playing up wide to the left. Jeremy Hall, the Toronto right back, now in battle against Darwin Bonilla. Zanaya again fires in, but easy stuff for Freddy Hall to get his first touch of the game.
And Jeremy Hall defending very high, and should have just dropped off and really absorbed the overlap, didn't let it happen, and a goal scoring chance inside the first couple of minutes for Aguila.
Ashton Morgan keeps that in play from Dunfield, but can't connect inside with his teammate Luis Silva. Soto getting away. That's onside. The flag has stayed down. Ronald Torres swing and a miss there. And Toronto survived that counterattack.
Well, on one side we saw Hall too high, on the other side we see Morgan too high. Both fullbacks want to get forward, and you can see early Aguila trying to exploit that space they leave in behind. That was poor defending from Toronto.
Pulled it off the chest there by Amarikwa. Mullen for the captain, Dunfield. Jeremy Hall crossing from deep, and good job by the goalkeeper there, Gonzalez, off his line. Aguila trying to move quick. Logan Emery alertly there to break it up.
We can certainly see it's the 2 fullbacks from Toronto who will look to provide the width, and you play a little bit narrow with the 4 in midfield. The only issues then, of course, is the 2 inside midfielders can struggle sometimes to get across and help the fullbacks defensively. Toronto may have some 2v1 situations to deal with in wide areas.
Emery up there again at center back tonight. Richard Eckersley at home after a clash of heads with LA's Mike McGee on the weekend. Freddy Hall, the Bermudan, back in as the starting goalkeeper, as he was for the loss against Santos Laguna. Milos Kosic, starter for most of the year, attending to family matters back in Toronto, as Bonilla tries to build from the back. See the appeals for offside as Decoy Williams plays safe.
We saw Bonilla with a lot of time to just serve that ball forward, and it's very difficult for your fullbacks to push unless you get pressure on that kind of ball. We'll see if that's something Paul Mariner addresses.
Zelaya. Long switch now to Ronald Torres. Torres, one of the players getting a rare opportunity to get in the starting lineup because of their absence tonight. Soto trying to hold off Williams, but the Jamaican won better. Although Ryan Johnson, his countryman, taken off the ball.
You wonder if we mentioned, John, that Paul Mariner expected to see Romero playing in the middle of that midfield tonight. You wonder if he aligned his midfield in relation to trying to nullify the effects of Romero. And now without him in there, maybe his four in midfield could just open out and be a little bit wider and exploit spaces.
Big burst up the side there from Reggie Lamb. Couldn't get back to that ball, though. Well, Toronto coming in on the back of an explosive 4-2 loss at LA on Saturday. Just one win in the last 12 games in all competitions. That was the game August 1st against this Aguila side. So in a season which has not had a lot of positives, this game again an opportunity to leave a field with smiles on their faces.
Well, it has been the one positive over the last few seasons. It has been they're playing CONCACAF Champions League, but it's been the theme of this club. It's made too many mistakes in terms of players coming in, and we blame manager after manager. I think right now we look at the playing staff and we say it's simply not good enough to compete in MLS.
Certainly injuries have played their part too since Toronto was last in Champions League action against Santos Laguna. Torsten Frings, the German World Cup veteran, shut down with a hip injury. Eric Osley with a sprained ankle. We mentioned Eckersley as well. As you see, Victor Corias, the head coach of this Aguila side, was put in charge in January. Won the Clausura title in the spring. That's how they qualify for the Champions League. Used to play for them as well. Long ball for Ashton Morgan. And he's done very well there to keep it in, playing to win Toronto's first corner of the match.
Ashton Morgan getting all the way down the flank, and they see no midfielder in front. That's exactly what Paul Mariner wants from his fullback. Allowing Luis Silva to be more of a classic inside midfielder. When he was at UC Santa Barbara, was an attack-minded central midfielder, so an area he is comfortable with.
Silva deep to the back post. The whistle's gone for the foul there against Ryan Johnson.
Silva with the delivery, and getting back to Silva in his last year in college play. Scored plenty of goals. He can be a goal-scoring threat from the middle of the park. I'm sure that's something Mariner wants to get more of out of him as he moves forward in his career. But a good debut campaign. Maybe one of the bright spots for Toronto so far this season.
There you see Walter Soto, one of the co-leading scorers this Aguila team in league play. It was Darius Umanzor, the center back, who was battling with Ryan Johnson on that last corner kick.
That's better pressure. Toronto just a little bit higher. Forcing a bad delivery.
Good touch inside for Silva. Now Johnson. Floats it in. A teasing ball, but no one there in a white shirt. Hard tackle there. As Mon went down on the shot from distance, parried away by Gonzalez.
Well, Terry Dunfield, every right to have a hit. Nobody closing him down. That was good play out wide from Ryan Johnson too, taking on the fullback. And he gets that cross in, and for me, it's up to his teammates to get themselves in the box. Then you see the ball drops to Dunfield. Nobody closes him down. It's not a bad hit. Was going wide, but the keeper still got a hand to it, Manuel Gonzalez. Good effort.
Again, Silva the corner. Johnson knocked it down. Dunfield on the doorstep, couldn't put it on frame.
Well, Aguila struggled defensively on set pieces when they first met Toronto. Luis Silva actually scoring off a header in the first leg. This time, good delivery. Just nobody following that second ball. Dunfield almost unmarked.
Well, and Manuel Gonzalez, this team's second choice goalkeeper. The normal starter, Benji Villalobos, amongst those four players with the El Salvador national team right now. He's down.
After watching Villalobos play in that first match, he's not much of a loss in this game because he was very poor. He struggled on everything that was sent into the box. I don't know how Aguila would cope if they had to lose a second choice goalkeeper. You can't imagine they would have too much depth at that position.
Well, again, it was 4 players, and this was a bit controversial because there was a thought that maybe Aguila were going to basically object to the players leaving, but Osiel Romero, 69 caps for El Salvador, scored both games against Guyana in recent qualifiers. He's one of this team's key players. Mardoqueo Henriquez, a center back. Isidro Gutierrez, a forward. 4 key players at the worst possible time. And El Salvador's not even playing a game right now.
No, it seems like a strange decision, and you want your teams to do well in CONCACAF tournaments, so they've basically made it even more difficult for Aguila. And right up till after the walkthrough this morning for Toronto, Paul Mariner and his staff believed Osiel Romero would be in the side, so you have to imagine it was a late decision to pull them from this lineup.
Well, as Gutierrez continues to get treatment, we're keeping half an eye on 2 other Champions League games for you tonight. Monterrey and Municipal deciding their group quite likely tonight. Also the big one for Real Salt Lake, Herediano and Tauro. They are in action down in Costa Rica. And again, that's Real Salt Lake probably going to come down to the final day anyway, but depending on what Herediano does tonight, they'll know exactly what they'll have to do in Salt Lake City in a couple weeks' time. And there is a goal in that game to report. We'll get you details on that in a moment as we're back underway. Silva. Reggie Lamb to accelerate from the traffic behind and wins a free kick at a good position for Toronto.
Well, he caused a lot of problems in the first matchup, coming in from that right-hand side, attacking the 2 centre-backs. This time Aguila taking no chances. Free kick given away by Bonilla. It's a good position. Silva, very good on set pieces. Dunfield will fancy his chances too.
And it is Herediano on a penalty kick who's taken the lead. So that, again, not killer in any stretch for Real Salt Lake, but it's sure love for the Costa Ricans to drop points tonight. As Toronto now, Silva and Dunfield over it. A good opportunity on the set piece. It'll be Dunfield just to clip it in, and alertly off his line, the goalkeeper Gonzalez.
That's a poor delivery. Easy for the goalkeeper, and it'll give him confidence too. See a little bit more whip, more pace when you put the goalkeeper under pressure, particularly after getting a knock in the first couple of minutes. You can see not the best surface too, John. The grass a little bit longer than Toronto staff wanted it. The ball holding up early on when they're trying to pass.
Romero knocked off the ball from behind by the left back Ashtone Morgan. Lamb. On the open side there is Ryan Johnson. Now the switch for the right back Jeremy Hall. Not quite the touch he wanted. Got the speed, but couldn't track that one down.
Now the problem when Ryan Johnson goes wide is Quincy Ameriqua is another player who likes to go wide and uses pace, so they don't have a natural outlet up front right now, Toronto. To see the 2 forwards really push on. Toronto's midfield has enough quality to cope with Aguila.
Foul committed there by Hall. And we see the confirmation of the goal to Herediano. Pablo Salazar with the penalty kick in the 10th minute. Monterrey and Municipal are scoreless right now. And of course, no score here between Toronto and Aguila, as that's harmlessly into Freddy Hall. Booming punt, trying to spark the counter. Johnson couldn't get up to it. Silva chasing the second ball, but well dealt with by the Aguila back line. Well, for Romero to chase, and he's got it. Rather, that's Ronald Torres. All heads away the cross. Silva. Lamb gets it back from Hall. You see Dunfield orchestrating a slightly different midfield setup than they normally would have in the league, Toronto tonight. Lamb, that's onside. He was being held on. Ryan Johnson clips it in back post, and that is in for Toronto's opening goal. Quincy Amarikwa from the finest of angles, putting them in front.
Well, it's poor defending from Aguila, but credit Quincy Amarikwa with the run. Times it well. The ball just in that area where it was difficult for the goalkeeper to come. And Quincy Amarikwa making the most of it. There you see Aguila backline looking for the offside decision. It doesn't come. The keeper backpedaling. That's a difficult angle. Credit Quincy Amarikwa with a very good finish.
Second Champions League goal this year for Quincy Amarikwa. Had been with Colorado the previous 2 years. Was briefly on New York's books before joining Toronto in mid-July. And doing well in the plays of Eric Osley, getting that goal.
Yeah, these games very important for the likes of Quincy Amarikwa, who's basically showcasing his talents to say he is worth a starting place, whether it be here or at another MLS club. So good finish from him.
There's the Santos, the 20-year-old, trying to get him behind. Working on Jeremy Hall. From distance, and Hall had to be alert there. Freddy, the goalkeeper.
We just saw before that goal with Toronto, Lamb very much narrow on that right-hand side. I'd like to see him drop a little bit wider and then attack the space. He's already killing his own space, and he hasn't been as effective early on. We know he can be devastating against sides like Aguila when he starts just that little bit wider.
It's a ball for Ashton Morgan to chase. First there was the defender Romero. Can tell you as well that Monterrey have gone 1-0 up on Municipal on a 12th-minute goal. That would send them through to the knockout phase as that sent back out the other way. Morgan's cross now, no one there. Again, Ashton Morgan up the channel. That's Amarikwa, the goal scorer. Dunfield. It's very patient stuff, isn't it, from Toronto right now?
I think Aguila, it's up to them to come out and try attacking their goal down at home, and Toronto quite content to keep possession. Doesn't make too much for a spectacle in terms of fan involvement, but Toronto every right to do it at 1-0 up.
As Emery gives away the free kick in the middle.
You see good run from Johnson, good delivery, and then Amarikwa. That's a difficult angle. Could be question marks over whether the goalkeeper could get back in and cut off, but he's so turned around. Amarikwa finishes so quickly. I'll give the credit to the young striker. Does very well indeed.
Well, and you saw it was Henry Romero, the right back, who was holding Johnson well onside. Dario Sereno with that Monterrey goal in the 12th minute. And again, any kind of result for Monterrey this evening will send them through to the last 16. Toronto, the only MLS team in action this week in the Champions League. Everyone else waiting until the last week of the MLS season to finish out that group stage.
That's the second time Henry Romero, the right back from Aguila, has knocked the ball directly out of play from that position. It's been poor so far. To see whether it be Quincy Amarikwa or Ryan Johnson go across on that side, put him under pressure every time he gets on the ball.
That's Zelaya now. Luis Anaya, this team's captain. 37 caps for El Salvador, but has not been called in of late. And there he is again. Good spell of possession this for Aguila, really their first of the opening 20 minutes of play. Forcing one save from Freddy Hall, an easy one on a shot from distance. That's offside on Soto.
So they turn maybe a hint of a free kick there, but I just still feel the Toronto midfield a little bit too narrow.
Amarikwa battling with Romero on the outside. Held in by Morgan. Again, Jeremy Hall, the right back, joining the attack. Gets it back from Lamb. That was a little bit under hit there. Perhaps he was looking for Mond, who was in the area. Heriberto Velasquez back for Zelaya.
Quite content, Toronto, to allow Aguila to have the ball inside their own half of the field. No real pressure from either forward to chase it down.
Good news for Real Salt Lake. Taro have equalized. Edwin Aguilar, the goal on Herediano. That's their first goal of this tournament. It's the other way. It's Bonilla. Almost got an opportunity for a shot there. Romero gets one away. And just scuffed it wide.
You just feel like Toronto could up the tempo on a team they're far superior to, and allowing Aguila to play, although 1-0 up, tactically may seem like the right thing to do. You feel like there's more goals there for Toronto if they want to go forward.
It was Urza Santos, in fact, with the effort. One of the two forwards along with Walter Soto tonight. Should see confirmation of that goal for Taro. First, though, Silva holds off his man, can't connect with Amarikwa.
That's the role I eventually see Silva playing in this league. Just off a front man, attacking midfielder. Very dynamic, very confident young man.
I think as far as what that means, that scoreline for Real Salt Lake, they're tied with Herediano and 6 points coming in. It would still need the win. It just wouldn't necessarily have to go to the tiebreakers if Herediano are held to a draw. If they lose tonight, that's where RSL really benefits. Ashton Morgan now on the long switch will win Toronto's second corner kick. Or third, excuse me.
Ashton Morgan's done a good job of trying to get himself forward on that left flank. I just don't think he has as many options as he would like. Easy for the Aguila players to just cut off his options centrally and make it one-on-one out wide. Have been a threat on set pieces though, Toronto.
Silva had her knocked down there. Johnson closest to it. He said it was off a defender. Referee disagrees.
Johnson attacking that near post. Very pacey player. I'm sure he built his MLS career since he's come to Toronto. An attacking threat, has all the tools. Maybe not as consistent as his managers would like. That's always good to see. Toronto fans making the trip. They've had a difficult season.
You get a trip to El Salvador out of it. As Gonzalez prepares the goal kick. It has been one of the best fan bases in MLS since their arrival in 2007. As the foul goes against Santos. It's one of the nice things, all these MLS teams playing very far away from home, and yet you always have the away supporters, at least a couple pop up.
It is great to see, and the Toronto fans have been superb for the side, but you wonder the ownership in danger of alienating that huge fan base with some of the decisions they've made over the last few years. They always haven't gone according to plan.
Amarikwa now. Scored that goal in the 16th minute, trying to get back to that ball. And he's just muscled off it by Darius Sumanzor. But it will be a 4th corner kick for Toronto FC.
Aguila, always a threat when he's direct. He wanted to use his pace and wins aside another corner kick.
Luis Silva, the rookie from UCSB. What a revelation he's been for Toronto this year. Lofts it in. Easy stuff for the goalkeeper. Dunfield, who played for Canada in those recent qualifiers against Panama.
Well, they've lost that ball there, Toronto, because of how narrow their midfield was. Silva all the way inside, listed as the left midfielder. Dunfield really had no options on the ball. The fullbacks didn't get forward quickly.
Taylor's back passes, Johnson chases. Just to clarify, Dunfield was called in for the recent qualifiers, did not make the field in either. On now for Decoy Williams. He's part of the Jamaica squad against the U.S. Up for Ryan Johnson, who started both games. Good first touch there on the defender Hernandez. Again, trying to play provider for Ameriqua. Almost got to that. Williams steps up. Toronto keep the ball. Johnson, not a good first touch, and they lose it. Ronald Torres breaking the other way. That's onside for Soto. And tackled out of there by Logan Emery. Soto got caught there.
Well, Soto was the one player that Mariner felt could be a threat going forward. And you saw again when Morgan went into the attack, Soto just drifted into that position that fullback had left open. You want your central defender to come across as he did. And then your holding midfielder Mount drop in as that extra central defender, so you keep your balance at the back. And that is always a nasty knock for a forward.
Well, Emery's a big boy, 6'1". His first year with this team after playing for the Puerto Rico Islanders last 2 years. And he's left Walter Soto laid out. As we'll remind you, our coverage of the Barclays Premier League on Fox Soccer continues Saturday. Fulham against the champions Manchester City. 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Saturday morning, right here on Fox Soccer. That's just dribbled out by Urza Santos.
We haven't seen much of Santos or Soto in attack so far. Aguila, a couple of spells of possession, but haven't looked like they have enough quality in attack to really penetrate this Toronto back four.
It's really interesting. Again, they've lost all 3 of their games. They've scored once. They've conceded now 15 goals. This is their 4th game, and yet in the league, they're in 3rd place. They've just given up 7 goals in 10 games. It's the best defensive record in the league, and they have 7 shutouts in 10 games this year. Yet they get into the Champions League, and it's just not good enough.
Well, no disrespect to Aguila and the opposition they're playing week in, week out in the league, but when you come up against the likes of Santos Laguna in CONCACAF play, it's very difficult because they have so many quality players. In Toronto, we're superb in the first match at BMO Field.
It's Toronto's 4th straight Champions League appearance, and they've gone one better each time. Of course, getting to the semifinals last year before crashing out to Santos Laguna. The work cut out for them if they want to get back to that knockout phase, as Santos is penalized, doesn't like it.
That was a good idea, good turn. Felt like the defender was just a little bit too tight. Macy using the hand to control, but wanted to turn the defender. But a definite free kick.
Quickly upfield, dropped off and just kept in play there. Very well done by Luis Silva. That's Dunfield. Ameriqua Look at all the orange shirts packing in around the 18-yard box. Lamb under hit for Jeremy Hall, who can't get there. And Toronto give possession back. So half an hour gone. Estadio Cuscatlan in San Salvador, the venue. Toronto FC up that Quincy Amarikwa goal in the 16th minute. And again, if they fail to win tonight, that last game in a couple weeks' time at Santos Laguna would be irrelevant. It's a tall task, but that was Paul Mariner's big point, was if they don't win tonight, it doesn't matter anyway.
Make that game count. At this strange point in the game where Toronto don't really need to go forward. Aguila don't want to push forward too quickly.
It's kept in play on that far side. Out there is Umanzor. Backed out of there, and lined up as a goal kick, and you can see their frustration, Aguila.
And Aguila, the one time they've had success going forward is when the fullbacks go and they can find that space in behind. But even then, they still look like they lack the quality to play that final killer ball. Really missing Romero in the middle of midfield too. A man who can pull the strings, former Chivas USA attack-minded midfielder.
Johnson lost that battle with Bonilla for the bouncing ball. Now it's Zelaya. Awkward there from Decoy Williams. Battles to get it back on Soto, but concedes the free kick. Pressure there, and it's taken away. This is Mon. He's got Johnson with him. Aaron Mon wants this one himself, but badly mishits it.
I'm not sure that would be the first choice in Paul Mariner's attack-minded drills. Mountain does well to win possession, but the defensive midfielder just needs to release Johnson. Let him use his pace going forward. You'll see excellent win. Johnson had made the run out to the left. You just out of picture. Amarikwa even coming in as well, but that ball should have been released almost immediately after being won.
Mon's another rookie out of Notre Dame. Has really come on the last month or two to be a regular for this team. As Silva had a chance there on that loose ball in the middle and just couldn't control it.
And that's what they can do, Toronto. Push forward, try win the ball a little bit higher. I don't think there's too much quality in Aguila to be able to play out of the back, so force them into mistakes. And you'll create goal-scoring opportunities.
Flipped in towards Soto, knocked down. Torres into the back post. Hall couldn't really do a whole ton with that, but Logan Emery's on the scene to get it clear. Velasquez, wide again for Ronald Torres. Has the overlap from Romero. Torres across himself. You hear Freddy Hall's call, and he's out to get it.
Excellent call from the keeper very early. The minute that left Torres' boot, he knew it was going to be his ball. Wasn't the best hit cross, but you want your goalkeeper to command his area. And that Freddy Hall did.
Onside Amarikwa. If he can beat the goalkeeper, well done, Gonzalez. Still a chance, though. Sent in from way out, and Johnson with the powerful header blocked down by the defender.
That's when I feel like Amarikwa's at his best, but Reggie Lamb's so inside from that right-hand side, he's almost cutting out the option of playing that ball through to Amarikwa. Good run. I'll credit the goalkeeping that time with Gonzalez. Came out quickly, narrowed the angle.
Once again for Mon. Again, slips it through for Amarikwa. The same balls last time. Has options in the box. Amarikwa knocked down by Gonzalez, and he covers up just in front of Luis Silva.
That's a great run from Amarikwa. Playing along the line, and then we see it again. This time Lamb further out wide. That's the first one. Good run. Good save from Gonzalez. But on the second one, when you get to that angle near the byline, you don't have any other options. You just smash it across and hope for something. Made it too easy for Gonzalez in goal. Better stuff from Toronto, though.
10 minutes to go before halftime. They were 3-1 up at the half in the home leg against Aguila on August the 1st. And again, a game where the visitors got stuck in Miami overnight. They arrived the day of the game and just hammered 5-1. It was the perfect start to the Champions League campaign for Toronto. And in fact, it's their only win in the last 12 games in all competitions, dating back the last couple months. You hear Paul Mariner shouting instructions.
They're telling his team to hold, not to push on. Instead of pressuring the ball, deny the options.
Cheeky back heel. Does find Romero eventually, though wasn't able to take it with him. Quickly, and that's Soto. And again, Aguila very quickly to play that ball back. Kind of reset things now, lifted in once again. Headed away in front of Santos. It's going to be a foul as Amarikwa knocked to the deck.
And it's a silly one too, because Amarikwa facing his own goal. No real threat. And they've allowed Toronto out easily.
Second consecutive year, incidentally, the Bakersfield native Amarikwa has scored a goal in El Salvador. Last year, playing for Colorado, scored against Metapan in the Champions League. Once again, here's Maud, wide for Reggie Lamb. Silva making the run towards the corner. Cuts it back for Johnson. Needs a supporting run. The left back, Ashton Morgan. Not quite the ball he wanted, perhaps.
You want your fullbacks to go forward, but you want quality in that final third. That's a poor delivery. Difficult angle to play that cross and get enough whip to allow your attackers to come onto it.
And again, not the normal home of Aguila. They're based in the city of San Miguel. This game being played in San Salvador in the National Stadium. Aguila doing well in the league, just one loss in their last 5. And they've had 4 shutouts in their last 5 league games. Beat the leaders Alianza 2-0 on Sunday. So just a 48-hour turnaround for them in this game. Toronto an extra 24 hours of rest, but they had a flight as well, as Decoy Williams gives away a free kick and a good chance for Aguila now. Latter stages first half.
You wonder if that quick turnaround had something to do with why the likes of Romero were allowed to join up with the national team. 2 games in such a short period of time. Very difficult for players, sometimes can pick up some injuries.
Most time Aguila really committing the numbers forward. It's 27-year-old Ronald Torres over it. Lifted in, header knocked down there. I think that was Humanzar got his head to it. Toronto player just getting his body in front. How can they hit on the counter? Silva, wide it goes for Johnson. Look at Amarikwa making the big run in the center. Coming from the backside, and it's going to come all the way through for Gonzalez, who just prevents it from being a corner.
Well, it was a good run. Great break. Luis Silva winning the ball. Good ball wide, and Amarikwa doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Split to 2 defenders, but just not enough quality on that final ball. Just shows you how easy it is to counter-attack against this Aguila team when they do push numbers forward. Probably one of the reasons why we don't see them push numbers forward.
By the way, in Costa Rica, Herediano has retaken the lead on Tauro. Enoch Perez making it 2-1. As Dunfield steps up and wins the ball, Amarikwa got options either side. Hands off for Ryan Johnson. A heavy first touch for Johnson. Gets across for Dunfield, and Toronto makes it 2.
Well, a similar break to the one we saw a couple of minutes ago when Mound won possession and went down the middle. This time it was Quincy Amarikwa. He actually does exactly the right thing, Amarikwa, when he wins possession. You'll see it here. Dunfield, the man initially involved, ball goes to Midokwa. He recognizes the run of Ryan Johnson. Awful first touch, but it works out in the end because Dunfield has continued his run. The man to initially cause the turnover gets the goal.
Terry Dunfield, his team's captain, his second Champions League goal of the year. His fifth goal for Toronto in all competitions since joining middle of last season from Vancouver. Ryan Johnson's second assist. And exactly what Toronto would have wanted, 2-0 up, as that's onside, the ball over the top for Santos, and well saved Freddy Hall.
Well, that ball catching Toronto napping, and at home when they went 2-0 up, they conceded as well. Don't give Aguila any reason to believe they have a chance in this game. Toronto 2-0 up without really getting out of second gear so far. There's plenty of goals in this match for them.
As we dip inside the final 5 minutes of this first half. Lamb, good ball into the area there for Amarikwa to get him forward. Look at all the white shirts queuing in the area. It'll be Johnson. And an easy save for Gonzalez in the end.
Actually just went up for that one too early. Johnson hanging in the air, and then by the time the ball reaches, couldn't generate enough power to really trouble Gonzalez in goal.
Back it goes for Mansour. And now Velasquez. Torres. Harassed backwards there by Ashton Morgan. Williams heading away the cross, and the flag was up anyway. Yes, Dunfield points out to the referee, you know, we could have just taken the ball with us, but thanks.
You can see what Dunfield's idea was. Had a chance to turn, create another attack. Had it relatively easy in the middle of midfield, Dunfield. No one pressuring him when he's in possession. There was a good win for that second goal. Started the move and finished it.
This Aguila, a player having it attended to, so they'll play with 10 momentarily. It's Walter Soto. They're forward. One ball for Morgan, got his head to it. Almost did the trick.
You see,
just a little bit.
Yeah, a couple of yards offside. Coming back into play. That's a good call from the assistant referee.
And Silva gives away a foul. Good dancing in the center there by Reggie Lamb. Amarikwa gets it away on the outside. Dunfield lofting in. Not going to find Johnson. Final minute plus stoppage time of this first half. First half that has been very comfortably controlled by Toronto FC. Only being credited with 53% of possession, but that doesn't tell the story of how much they've controlled this.
Well, Aguila have had those couple of spells where they haven't looked likely as we look at the second goal. Question marks over whether Dunfield had gone further forward. Difficult angle on that occasion. But credit Dunfield for continuing the run after he won possession. And he gets rewarded. But Aguila, every time they have had possession, they look comfortable just knocking it around. Haven't really gone anywhere. It's usually ended up with a long, hopeful punt forward towards Walter Soto. They've got absolutely nothing from that.
Captain Anaya playing long. And out. Well, what are the pitfalls for Toronto? I mean, you're comfortably ahead against a team you're clearly better than. What are those trap doors they have to be aware of?
Well, you don't want to sit back. You don't want to just rest on your laurels. If a team is there to be attacked, you should go and attack. Get the goals, get confidence. Because it only takes one goal for Aguila, one momentary lapse from Toronto to allow them back into the game.
As you see, we'll play 2 minutes extra.
For me, if Toronto, the only way you can lose or allow Aguila back into this game is because of things you do yourself. Because if you go forward, you will score goals.
Darwin Bonilla just getting caught underneath Reggie Lamb. And Hernandez looks to play short. You surprised he wouldn't just lift that in the box and try something?
I've been surprised at a lot of things Aguila have done so far in this half.
Ashton Morgan flying forward. Hard tackle there. The referee saw nothing wrong with it. Morgan back to his feet gingerly. Johnson lays it off for Morgan to chase a foot race. Ashton Morgan gets there. Back for Ryan Johnson. Swept in towards Amarikwa. The header away, though. And eventually cleared out by Reynaldo Hernandez.
Last time Morgan getting himself in a very advanced position. The left back has been forward on every occasion. Just maybe lacked a little bit of quality. Johnson's ball could have been better, too.
Logan Emery. Not the best pass from Johnson, but it worked. Here's Lamb. Amarikwa, big run forward by Jeremy Hall. Still Amarikwa, though. Toronto have a throw. Is there any time left in this, though, as we pass the 2 minutes? And there it is. Well, exactly what Toronto FC would have hoped for from a first half where they were rarely threatened.